George Pataki says he's cut taxes. The truth, under Pataki, the tax burden on New Yorkers has gone up. He says he's created jobs. New York has lost 300,000 jobs since he became governor. Pataki says he's a conservative, yet state debt and borrowing are up to $100 billion. After 8 years of special interests, spending is up 45%.
8 years is enough. Now, I've lived in New York all my life. I've built a business here. I know people are worried. They see the value of the retirement savings evaporating, taxes increasing, young people leaving the state to find jobs. As governor, I'll bring fiscal discipline to Albany and say no to the special interest. We can reduce spending, cut taxes, and create good jobs for New Yorkers. Together, we can make it happen.
Golisano for governor. His only interest, what's best for all New Yorkers.
What do you think?
Here's your black background and your white font. There we go. That's exactly it. It looks very much actually like a 1996 ad that Dole tried to run against Clinton, and that completely backfired for a number of reasons back then.
All right, here's the key though. As someone trying to unseat a very popular incumbent, he has to do this, right?
I am personally not so sure that he has to do this. The common wisdom behind negative advertising is that it will turn off voters. There's some controversy if that's really true, but overall the evidence points in that direction. What does that mean? It turns off voters because it makes them more cynical, it shows them that politics is about cynicism, that these people just want to get elected. They don't care about me or you or our issues. Who does that turn off more? It tends to turn off more people that are less likely to vote in the first place. So it tends to turn off the soccer moms, the racial minorities, younger voters. It tends to turn off people that traditionally don't turn out and vote, and for whom it takes a little bit of an incentive to go. It doesn't turn off your Christian coalition. It doesn't turn off your ultra right wing. It doesn't turn off
the well-organized.
Right. The well-organized and the well-educated who for them it's just a habit. Yes, of course I go vote. So it tends to turn off the people that you as a challenger very often need. So that's why it doesn't necessarily make sense for you to actually go negative. Because who's going to go out? Well, Pataki's voters are most likely going to turn out anyway. And the ones that you need, the new constituencies, the people that would actually vote for a third party or for somebody who's less of a well-established candidate.
I mean, scientifically we understand it, but intuitively it seems that if you're going to unseat the guy that's been there, you've got to attack his record in a negative way. I mean, it just doesn't seem. But you say no matter what, that doesn't work in most instances.
It can absolutely work. I mean, if you're a Republican, it can work. And if you're Republican and you really try to turn off Democratic voters,
but he's trying to get.
That's exactly what I'm saying. In that case, it's most likely not gonna work. And I just don't see how he can get the traditional constituencies that Pataki has for him or has going for him, and by going negative.
You've been watching at home. What do you think about the ads you've seen thus far? We have two more to look at. 451-2414. Even at this early stage, have you made up your mind, and have these ads help you to do so? 451-2414. Certainly the people that made them want to know if they've helped you to make your mind as well. Let's hear from you. Our guest is Dietram Scheufele. He's a Cornell University professor in the communications department, and is also a public opinion researcher.
It's kind of funny. I've never seen or heard a political ad where someone running for office would say, well, Governor or Senator so-and-so, they've done a pretty good job, but you know what? I can do better, and that's why you should vote for me. I mean, you don't see that.
Yeah, and there's negative and negative. I think that's one thing to keep in mind. A lot of people call everything negative that attacks a candidate or an opponent, and I think that's way too simplistic. Every ad, by definition, is negative. Of course, I'm arguing. If any discussion that I have, I will try to challenge your viewpoints, and I think that's good. That's important in a democracy. The question is, how do you do it? Do you simply say this person is wrong, this person has done bad things, or do you really try to challenge some of the facts? And as we heard earlier in the earlier segment, if that means you rely on facts that you know are not true, then that definitely would qualify as a negative ad.
451-2414 or 800-451-2414 if it's long distance for you. Irene in Baldwinsville, hello.
Hi. I just turned on the set, but I've just learned something in the last day or so. I read a small editorial in the paper. I want to warn people not to vote for Pataki, and I'll tell you why. Our driver licenses I think you had to renew them for 2 years at first. And then the last time I renewed mine, I think it was for 5 years. Thank God I have 2 more years left. Now he's raised it to 8 years. Going to have to shell out $120.
Wow.
And this man wrote a small editorial, and he said, what happens if I die before the 10 years?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they told him that if it's before the start of the second 5 years, you'll get your money back. But if it starts into the second 5 years, they keep it.
Well, Irene, thank you for
that's
for
like
the call.
sticker shock, actually.
Yeah, let's remember, if again, I'm not sure that that's exactly accurate, but if it is, obviously the state legislature would have had to approve it as well, so that's not entirely a Governor Pataki thing. You had something in the paper?
Yeah, well, it's exactly the case. She talks about $45 last time you renewed your license, $120 if you go the next time.
All right.
And they're hoping that that's going to drive up revenue, so that's pretty significant.
Yeah. Let's go to Carol in Canastota. Hi, Carol.
Hi. I just wanted to throw in my opinion here.
Good.
I don't understand why the politicians don't get it. The whole thing is it's not who you're voting for, it's who you're voting against. You know, that's the way I look at it. I don't like this guy, I don't like this guy, but this guy is the
Lesser
of the two
evils.
evils.
Well, all right, let's get the expert here to validate that or challenge it.
Both. Spoken
You sure you're not a politician?
I was about to say, spoken as a true politician.
Right.
It depends which stage of the campaign we're talking about. People tend to vote very strategically, meaning voting against certain people and rather than voting for people in primaries, assuming that certain people have a better chance to survive the primaries and actually to win the whole thing. So I might not vote for my favorite Democrat because I believe that another Democrat has a better chance of beating the Republican. And that happens in presidential races all the time and in primaries quite a bit. In the final race, when you have 2 candidates, in most cases 2 candidates running against each other, I think that becomes less of an issue and really do vote, most people do vote for the person that they like better. Now there might be elections, and I think the 2000 presidential race was a little bit like that, where certain people had the feeling that they didn't like either candidate all that much, but hopefully those are the exception, and I think they are mostly the exception.
Let's take one more call, George, and then we have a couple of more political advertisements to look at. Michelle in Cortland, go ahead, Michelle.
Yes, I wanted to say that in response to the thing about the driver's license, your driver's license is now, it used to be 4 years when you renewed, now it's good for, I think, 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. That's right.
So that would contribute to part of the cost.
Right.
It would be the legislature, again, with the governor,
Sure.
that would do that. Also, I wanted to say this is really an excellent program today.
Thank you.
With both speakers that you've had on. It's really thought-provoking. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks very much for
watching. We are the
watching.
Thinking Person's
Yes, we are.
talk show. Speaking of thinking, let's think about this.
Remember when George Pataki tried to keep Senator John McCain off the presidential ballot in New York? Now he's trying to do the same to Tom Golisano.
Why would a sitting governor interfere with the democratic process? Why wouldn't George Pataki support an honest and fair election? We should be focusing on how to make New York State a better place to live. Together, we can make it happen.
Golisano for governor. His only interest? What's best for all New Yorkers?